Santhanar is a ruthless world, and four truths prevail: danger, death, despair, and duty. Many are indentured at a young age, and they spend their lives fulfilling their duty. Some are able to put a little bit of money aside so that eventually they're able to buy their indenture, essentially buying their freedom. But many don't get to do that, and for them, even on a whim, their indentures could be sold off to someone else. It's a woeful system that treats people no better than cattle, all to serve the war. But despite all of this, many endure and some adapt. Then there are those who, even under crushing odds, find the courage to fight back. Tiaan drifted in and out of consciousness. And as she did that, she saw the blurry images of people around her. She didn't recognize most of them, like the strange man and woman arguing about whether this was right or even legal. And then there were faces she did recognize, like her mother and Joe. Her voice is hoarse as she painfully calls out to Joe. He looks very concerned and gently tells her to rest and get her strength back. But she tells him she still has to complete her work with the controllers. As he holds back the tears, Joe tells her that she's been out for a week, and she was screaming in pain for almost the entire time. She can't remember any of it, and as she slowly looks around, realizes that she's not in the manic factory. Tiaan wants to know where she is, and Joe cautiously tells her that she's in the breeding factory. It slowly dawns on her as she realizes that she's been sold to the breeding factory. Her life as an artisan is over. All that hard work, all the savings she put together to eventually free herself, all gone. She wants to let out a scream, but Joe slaps her on the cheek. Just enough for her to snap out at it as he tells her not to, else even he would think she's gone mad. But why would they sell her indenture, she asks. She'd found the solution to the headroom problem, and all that was left was to put the controllers together. Joe tells Tiaan that Iris had come up with the solution and handed it to the overseer, which is why he felt no need to keep her, considering her condition. She had then been promoted to acting crafter, even at her young age. Tiaan feels like she just got punched in the gut and tells Joe that Iris must have stolen or copied her design. Skeptically, he asks her if she's sure. She swears to it, and like the loyal friend he is, Joe believes her. Tiaan continues to protest, feeling the need to help her understand and maybe even accept her parents' situation. Joe tells her that it is done, and she is now a breeding factory woman. Tiaan will never accept this, ever. She tells Joe that she'll run away. He appeals to her, telling her what she already knows, that those who run away from their duties have no rights. Anyone can do anything to them, even kill them without penalty. Tiaan doesn't care, because as far as she's concerned, anything is better than this. Just then, the door swings open and the matron of the breeding factory walks in. She rudely tells Joe that visiting hours are over and he has to leave soon. After she leaves, Tiaan asks Joe if he'll still keep his promise to help her if she ever needed it. He says he will, of course. She then asks him to go to her room in the manufactory. She'd like him to retrieve her clothes, notepad, tools, and even the hidden forbidden book. He agrees to do it. The matron enters the room again and even more rudely asks Joe to leave. He says his goodbyes to Tiaan and takes his leave. The matron walks over to Tiaan and begins inspecting her. She goes over every single part of Tiaan's body, and I mean every part. Her hair, lips, teeth, dimples, chest, everything. Like inspecting cattle before taking it to market. Once the matron was done, she was convinced that with some improvements and food, she'd be able to make Tiaan even more appealing for her new work. It was time to prepare Tiaan, her nails, hair, body, all of it. The improvements began now. She was led to the bathroom, where a few ladies were ready to attend to all their needs. Tiaan can't remember the last time she had a hot bath, let alone something so extravagant with attendants as well. They kept her in there until her fingers and toes began to wrinkle, feeding her with all kinds of delicious food and treats while she lay in the bath. Even when she was full, they kept feeding her. After the bath and food came the perfumes, lotions, and massages. They went all out, and after all was done, the matron inspected Tiaan and was pleased, confident that Tiaan will bring in a lot of business. After more feeding, the matron led Tiaan to her office. As the matron searched her desk for a document, a woman came in to tell her that there was an incident involving one of the breeding factory ladies and a customer. She heads out to deal with the problem, telling Tiaan not to touch anything. Tiaan was bored as she waited, so decided to flick through some of the books she saw. These books contained information on the parents and children born here. She could find the information about her father. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time. She heard matron's voice outside and quickly returned the ledger and sat down. After composing herself, the matron found the papers she was looking for and thrust them across the table, asking Tiaan to sign them. Tiaan refused. The matron got up from her chair, walked towards Tiaan, and struck her with a blow that made her crumple to the floor, winded. She asked Tiaan to sign it, and again, Tiaan refused. She prepared herself for another blow, but the matron simply returned to her chair. Tiaan tells the matron that she can't keep her here without her signature, to which the matron replies that Tiaan has been certified insane, and unless she has written proof stating otherwise, her indenture has been bought, and she is now a breeding factory woman. Tiaan then asks if she can speak with her mother. The matron thinks it's a great idea, hoping that Mani, a seasoned vet, will be able to talk some sense into Tiaan. Tiaan walks into Mani's room and her mother seems happy to see her. After all, she's always wanted Tiaan to join her at the breeding factory, and now it's happened. Of course, Tiaan feels the exact opposite. This place is like a prison to her. Usually, when Tiaan asks about her father, Mani doesn't provide any information other than to insult him. But this time, she reveals a bit more. Tiaan's father loved her dearly and wanted to take her away from the breeding factory, something that Mani was very much against. Not long after Tiaan was born, her father showed up and was refused entry into the breeding factory. Although he fought hard to try to take Tiaan, he was outnumbered and dragged away. Soon after that, Mani used her connections to have him sent to the front lines, and he was never heard from again. Tiaan screams at her mother, accusing Mani of killing her father. The argument went back and forth, and soon after, Tiaan left to her own room. She tried to calm herself down, and after a while decided to go for a walk. As she made her way to the doors of the breeding factory, a guard called out her name, telling her that she wasn't allowed to go outside. Tiaan rushes to her mother's room. As she bursts in, she tells Mani that they won't let her go outside. Mani tells her that while she is indentured, she can only go out once a month, during which she'd be accompanied by a guard, and she'll have a discreet wrist mantle. Tiaan finally realizes how much of a prisoner she really is. She tells Mani that she had been paying her indenture with the manufactory and she only had 2 years left. Mani then gives her the really bad news. Her indenture starts afresh with the breeding factory, and with some hard work, it'll take her between 10 to 12 years to pay it off. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying the story so far. If so, please like, subscribe, and leave any comments or suggestions you have below. And I'll see you all on the next one.